Welcome to the special coverage of the earnings of Big Boy Reliance, wherein this time in Q3 FY24, the company has reported almost an inline set of numbers, but the margins is a beat coming in because we were expecting the margins close to 17%. The company has clocked in 18.1% onto the margin front. So those are the top line headline numbers, wherein the revenue has seen a decline of just 3% on a sequential basis. EBITDA is almost flat. Margin has seen 18.1% and the net profit is almost flattish on a sequential basis. But let's get in more details on the number front. How is the segmental revenue panning out to be and what is the performance that we are seeing there? Let's go across to my colleague Somit Sarkar, who is joining us with all those details. So Somit, what's the first cut analysis on the numbers?
Well, if you see, the numbers are pretty much in line with what the street was estimating. Around 300 to 400 crore beat on the EBITDA front. Street was estimating the EBITDA to be close to around 40,276 crore rupees, but the company has reported an EBITDA of close to 40,656. Now, let's try and understand from where has this beat actually come in. Now, if you see the oil to chemical business, there the EBITDA number is slightly below than what the street was expecting at close to 14,664 crore rupees. But the higher beat has come in from the exploration segment, like the gas exploration segment of Reliance Industries. Now here the street was estimating the company's EBITDA to be close to 5,160 crore rupees, but actually the company has reported an EBITDA of close to 5,800 crore rupees. Clear 12% beat on the oil gas exploration segment EBITDA, which has led to the overall beat in the Reliance Industries number on the EBITDA front. Apart from that, retail segment has come in pretty much in line with what the street was estimating. The EBITDA is close to 6,271 crore rupees. And when we look at the Geo numbers, now on all fronts, be it revenue, be it EBITDA, be it the net profit front, the numbers are pretty much in line with what the street was estimating. Revenue has increased by around 2.5% on a sequential basis. EBITDA also has come in higher by similar percentage. Margins have come in at close to 52.3%, while the company's net profit has increased by around 3% to close to 5,200 crore rupees. Now the ARPU number, that has come in slightly below than what the street was estimating. Street was going around with a number of close to 183 rupees, but the company has reported a flat ARPU of close to 181 crore rupees. But on the subscriber front, strong subscriber addition that we have seen, around 11.2 million subscriber addition that we have seen in the third quarter, similar to what we saw in the previous quarter. Now this is the 7th consecutive quarter where Reliance Industries, a telecom segment, that is Reliance Jio, has managed to get subscribers, and the now subscriber base stands at close to 47 crore rupees. So all in all, if you see, a good set of numbers, steady set of numbers coming in from Reliance Industries in the third quarter. Shrishti?
All right, almost inline set of numbers coming in, and Somit also highlighted how are the Geo numbers panning out to be. So 7th consecutive month where we are seeing the subscriber addition happening, though the ARPU number has come in at 181.7 on that front. But let's connect with our expert then and let's get in their first take. We are being joined by Abhijit Bora of Share Khan. Hi Abhijit, and thank you so much for your time. What's your first analysis on the numbers? How are the numbers panning out versus your estimates?
Yeah, we were estimating close to 40,000 crore of EBITDA. We clearly see some beat on the retail side, plus a marginal beat on the upstream side. Overall, standalone is also above our expectation. We were expecting close to around 17,500, but it has come around close to around 90,800 crore, both O2C plus upstream. So there has been a beat in the upstream earnings, plus retail has done reasonably well.
Well, if you see the upstream business, 5,800 crore rupees, where do you see this beat might have come in? Was it because of higher production number for the upstream business of Reliance Industries, or was it clearly because of the cost coming down for Reliance Industries in third quarter?
Yeah, it must be related to higher production plus cost, because the realization largely remains stable in our view. Nothing much of change would happen there.
Look at the Reliance Jio numbers. They were, I guess, pretty much in line with what your estimate and the street estimate was. But the ARPU number, now on that front, if you see, we have seen a slight kind of miss. Do you think street would be worried that the company is not being able to increase its ARPU without a tariff hike now?
Yeah, there may not be any concern on that part, because once the migration of 2G to 4G will be there, the quality of subscriber will improve, and ultimately that will reflect in the ARPU numbers as well going forward. There may be some delay in the tariff hike as the ARPU remains flat on sequential basis, but that has to be looked upon progressively and not from the quarter to quarter basis. Though there was some expectations, there is a disappointment, but all in all, the Geo numbers are also broadly in line.
Okay, so Jio numbers are also looking broadly in line, but let me just highlight a couple of commentaries coming in from Mukesh Ambani, who is the chairman and managing director of Reliance Industries, where he says that this time the retail segment has delivered an impressive financial performance. The oil and gas segment posted its highest ever quarterly EBITDA, and he's happy to note that KG D6 is now contributing 30% of India's gas production. The new energy giga complex is all set to be commissioned in the second half of calendar year 24, and he's confident that Reliance new energy business will play a pivotal role in the global movement and adoption of cleaner fuels. Across the board, we are seeing positive commentary coming in. But with this, let's also take the take of Naveen Kulkarni, who is joining us right now, who is the Chief Investment Officer at Axis Securities PMS. Hi, Naveen. A very good evening. What's your first analysis on the Reliance earnings, a beat coming in on the O2C business? How are you seeing the retail as well as the Geo numbers as of now?
Yeah, so first of all, on the Geo numbers, if I were to look at the headline numbers, I'd say that the revenues were slightly lower than what we were anticipating because the ARPU number was a slight miss. However, the subscriber addition number has been almost a million subscribers higher than what we anticipated. So that's a good number to look at. Overall, earnings-wise, Geo numbers continue to look good. In the other businesses, which is retail and O2C business, as I can see that O2C is probably a slight beat. O2C was not expected to, on a sequential basis, O2C was expected to be slightly weaker. So slight beat is encouraging. I think the retail numbers, we were expecting around 7% quarter-on-quarter growth. So seasonally probably a stronger quarter also. So I think retail business has done pretty well. So I would say that overall numbers.
So joining into the conversation, firstly, when you look at the telecom numbers, pretty much in line with what the street was estimating, slight dip when it comes to the ARPU side. So do you consider this as a move now that the company would now have to go ahead and take a tariff hike, because without any tariff hike, we are not seeing any kind of improvement when it comes to the average revenue per user here?
Yes, so average revenue per user will typically move up in the long term as a step function, right? That is when tariff hikes happen. Without, of course, having a stated tariff hike, there is some bit of movement which happens from lower packs to higher packs and so on and so forth, prepaid to postpaid. But these are very, very long-term moves and they take a lot of time, right? So on a quarter-on-quarter basis, it will be very, very difficult to calibrate what exactly would have happened. But nonetheless, I would say that tariff hikes will be needed in the long term to take the ARPU up. Without tariff hikes, it's going to always be a challenge, right? So from that perspective, we should see maybe tariff hikes coming through, but timing of that will always remain very, very uncertain.
All right, so that's the take coming in from Naveen. But with this, let's also go across to Sushil Choksi of Indus Equity Advisors. Very good evening, Sushil. What's your first analysis on Reliance, and help us understand your take on that. And also, I wanted to have your take on the new energy business as well, because we have been seeing a lot of focus in their new energy business, especially in the recent Vibrant Gujarat Summit. The announcements were being on that front. So going ahead for 2024, what do you believe will be the likely triggers for Reliance Industries in terms of that could fuel the growth even more?
Good evening and thanks for having me on the show. Reliance results seems to be on line with what the market consensus and the Bloomberg estimates were floating around with. So if you go by EBITDA at the segment level, oil to gas, oil and chemical was expected lower and it has come at 14,064 crores, which was more because of some exports and little lower demand on petrochemicals. And It is more to do with diesel exports maybe in November, December, which had tapered off because of the shipment hassles which India is facing towards European market. And the newspapers are already indicating that shipments for last 60 days were lower compared to October and on month for all the refineries. If you look at oil to gas, its historic is highest number, which Mr. Mukesh Ambani has highlighted, and looks like this number would ramp up further as production is stabilized and it's increasing. Looking at retail, the numbers online, how soon with luxury and other segments which are adding to Reliance basket, how that number improves toward a double digit, towards 9-10%, that needs to be watched out, and that would be a positive. And as it is, thinking progresses that the consumer would contribute to much higher number than where we stand today, because all entire capex and rollout is happening, and including the telecom. No doubt the ARPU is flat, marginally higher, but we need to see a much higher with 5G experience and public perception of higher usage, which is happening. So it's a matter of time that whether the biggest rival, Bharti and Reliance, how they stack up and increase the pricing pattern. And I'm sure that it's a matter of time, whether it takes 6 months, 12 months or more, that digital would have a higher EBITDA margin and a higher consumption base. Now, your last question on new energy business. Reliance is setting up an entire solar experience linked to hydrogen and the PLI schemes, even for electrolyzers. It seems that they have won almost majority of the share where hydrogen is concerned. And solar, they're starting from polysilicon to module, and which would be more used for their own farms. And it seems in 24 second half, you would start seeing the production commencing at the new complex. So currently the investment plan of 75,000 crores, which has been spoken about at Vibrant Gujarat earlier in the annual general meeting, it may be happening over a period of next 12 to 24 months. But this would be the game changer where Reliance's new energy business is concerned and India's roadmap is concerned. So it is very possible that people would assign a reasonable value to this new initiative. It may be little 12 months, 24 months away for a higher number compared to what the street is putting as a number today. But for India, hydrogen can be a big story because the government is targeting a large export out of India, and Reliance's experience on manufacturing and specifically the entire solar and integration with polysilicon to solar and then
Right.
hydrogen experience would change the game.
Well, let's also get in Joshi here. So, Mayuresh, if you see among all the segments of Reliance Industries, it is the oil and gas exploration segment which has delivered a big beat. 22% jump on a sequential basis, 50% jump on a YOY basis. Do you see more upside to this EBITDA number of the oil and gas exploration, which stands at close to 5,800 crore rupees currently?
No, I think that's a solid set that Reliance has delivered. Now, to expect a significant upside on the current number is a high probability. And therefore, I think the numbers will remain stable and increase at a reasonable pace. But this part of the business, Reliance has always maintained over the last 2 to 3 quarters, in fact, last 4 to 6 quarters, that this leg of the business is expected to ramp up. They have done that, and probably the numbers are showing as far as the upstream business of Reliance.
Okay. And when it comes to the Jio business, now despite the fact that there was World Cup in Q3 and high data usage was one of the key factors that could have led the ARPU higher, but that has not played out for Reliance Jio in the third quarter. So how are you expecting the street to look at the ARPU number of Reliance Jio?
So to that extent, I think I would not call that it's a miss of sort. But a large element of what Naveen was also mentioning in terms of the entire telecom ecosystem, there might be calibrated increases that should happen anytime in this calendar year. And as that starts taking place, and as we enter into the 5G ecosystem, those price hikes will be warranted. So as those price hikes start seeping in, both in terms of the 5G ecosystem and calibrated price hikes in terms of the higher packs, as far as the 4G ecosystem is concerned as well. My own sense is that the improvement in terms of ARPUs across the telecom chain would mean better cash flows going forward. And therefore, I think the kind of investments that are going across the 5G ecosystem, when it comes to the digital overlay, the digital cables, the ecosystem to support the whole functioning of 5G, I think all those elements will reduce the stress in terms of the standalone balance sheet of Jio. So in my opinion, I think this calendar year price hikes are a given, and therefore that will bring relief in terms of the balance sheet and cash flows as far as the standalone Jio business is concerned.
All right, so that's the take coming in from Mayuresh Joshi. But Sushil, I once again wanted to come to you because you explained your take on the segment-wise performance as well as and also the new energy business, wherein you believe that going ahead the markets should give the premium to this particular business as well, given their big plans. But a couple of other points that the analysts were expecting that from the mid of 2024 there could be some deleveraging that could start kicking in. Other than that, there's a potential Jio IPO that could be possible in the next 12 to 18 months. What's your take on that? That how likely these triggers could play out for Reliance Industries? And also, since for the past 1 year we are seeing that Reliance Industries has been a bit of an underperformer in comparison to the kind of return that Nifty 50 has given, do you believe that now is the time to bet big on Reliance?
See, considering retail expansion, and it's still doing adequate expansion, and they will continue as they go pan-India and better experience, better partnership, global partnership, be on the best brands, and a lot of acquisition is happening. So it's going to be a continued story with the India population size and as affordability. And if you read reports like Goldman Sachs, where the earning per person on for almost 100 million getting to $10,000. So retail will have an expansion. At the same time, retail experience with newer initiatives will take a betterment. And whether the IPO takes place or a listing takes place or a HIVO or demerger, what they propose, I don't see it coming so soon, but it may happen because everybody is waiting for last 2 years. Earliest you may hear is in AGM or possibly after Q4 result. But whether it's 24 or it's 25, it's a speculation today unless the management decides to. And the same case, I think when they do retail, they do Jio together or they do on a separate note. That needs to be seen. But both would be listed as an independent entity sooner or later. And I won't be surprised if it happens in soon, but it will happen in 12 to 24 months. And that's the big kicker where Reliance stock is concerned. Now, if you're looking at India consumer story from a long-term point of view, I am certain that anybody who wants to play India has certain 4-5 plays to look at. And consumer experience comprising between retail and telecom and petrochemical or fiber or polyester or anything which is being manufactured at Reliance ultimately used by consumer of India. So as consumer growth is happening in India, every product manufactured by them is being value added by industrial production or a consumer product which is being manufactured. So it's a matter of time that better utilization, better capacity, a stable country, which the entire world is talking about where India's growth is concerned. So keeping all that in mind, the sector would grow and the earnings on interest before depreciation tax, which is estimated to be around 1,80,000 to 85,000 crores. Next, there should be in the region of 2,25,000 crores. And if you're getting that kind of a growth number on an annualized basis, and then new energy business adding, I think, and debt would start reducing by then, unless they have further expansion in new businesses. I think Reliance would re-rate on a more consumer.
All right. Thank you so much, Sushil, for your take. Yes, indeed, Reliance has been taking the charge to lead the India growth story, and we have been seeing the company diversifying in various business all throughout these years and many more in the times ahead. But thank you so much, Sushil. With this, we'll let you go on that. But coming to you, Naveen, now just wanted to wrap this up before taking your view on the stock expectation. What I could sense is that every analyst is just giving a thumbs up as of now in comparison to the kind of thumbs down that we have seen. But on the stock ticker, what should we expect for tomorrow? Because tomorrow is going to be a day when the markets are open, a special case scenario. So a red or a green or a flattish sort of a movement is what we can expect.
I think more likely it's significant upgrade in earnings coming through. Jio, I don't think difficult to also make out from the results perspective that if there is something substantially has moved in this quarter, right? So it's
Believe that there's a bit of a patchy line with Naveen, but the same question I want to put up to you, Mayuresh. What's your expectation on the stock movement of Reliance for tomorrow?
O2C has been marginally higher. Retail, the juggernaut just continues, right? 10 billion in terms of revenue, 83,000 crores. They added 250 stores. So I think that phenomenal performance will continue. Geo, a little bit of a miss. Upstream business has been stellar. So in that sense, I think has met market expectations to a large extent. Difficult to call tomorrow's red or green, but over a longer term, I think green it is for Reliance.
Well, yes, indeed. Over the long term, green is what we are expecting. But with this, we'll let you go on that, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Mayuresh, Abhijit and Naveen, for joining us today on the special coverage of Reliance Q3 FY24 earnings. But with this, viewers, it's time to wrap this edition. And thank you so much for watching the special coverage on Reliance Industries.